This is Larry Pollock coming to you from Underground Performance Gym, the hardcore training gym in Ventura County. I'm here today with Luke Carroll, IFBB Pro Bodybuilder, and we're going to be talking about his coming up in the sport and things he's gone through and where we're at now.
The kingdom for the saved. I believe in a day of judgment for the ruler to the slave.
I actually met Luke originally at one of my powerlifting meets many years ago, but I really met him when COVID started. All the gyms closed down, and we were the only one that actually we were actually closed down at the time. But Luke came and trained with me for a short period of time while we were closed down, and he's been a member with us ever since. I know Luke's was preparing for a pro show a couple years back and then had some adversity. So we're going to get into that and where he's at today. So,
hey, it's my first time doing in-person podcast. I've always just done the computer, so it's kind of interesting, kind of new, fun. But yeah, back during COVID, they shut all the gyms down, obviously. And we just shut the lights off in the front of Larry's gym. We shut all the lights off in Larry's gym, and just me, Larry, and Adriel were in the back pumping iron. Yeah, and then finally the health inspectors were knocking on the door, and we just let them keep knocking. Didn't let them in. So I made a lot of progress during that time. So that was a lot of fun to be able to have full access, to a gym. So.
Yeah, when everything else was closed.
When everything else was closed, yeah.
And then we were actually able to stay open during COVID when still the other gyms were closed by just working around the system a little bit.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, I was there when you won the USA. That was the same year Derek Lunsford got his pro card at the USA.
Actually, Derek won USA's in 2017. We could just go through my whole kind of competition history, I guess. 2016, I won the Mr. California overall, and then I thought I needed a little more size. That was my first real show in about 10 years, so I thought I needed more. So I went back to the drawing board, pushed hard for another year, came back, I won the Cal again, and then I went to USA's, and I got a first call out at USA's in 2017, which was the year Derek won it.
Okay.
I got 4th place, and then wrapped it back up. That didn't compete anymore that year, and then I teamed up with Phil Viz in 2018, and then we went in and got my card, winning the heavyweight class at USA's that year.
Right.
And then we flew straight to Tampa and got a second call out at the Tampa Pro, which I believe ended up 8th place. So I was pretty happy with being a brand new pro, dropping down to the heavyweight class from the super heavyweight, and still holding my own as like a or 230 pound bodybuilder against monsters like Sergio and
right,
those guys that won that show. So. And then that would have been 2018, and then 2019 I took off. 2020 I was getting ready for New York Pro, and then COVID happened, and then kind of went through that whole year, just building my business and working a lot. And then in 2021 I was getting huge. I was getting ready to start a prep, and then in September I got hit by a car on my motorcycle. Ended up breaking my arm, and we can get into that. I had to have several surgeries and stuff like that, and then came back from that, and then I was huge again. April of last year, ended up rupturing my bicep tendon, which in my left arm, which I haven't really talked about it anywhere. I haven't said nothing about it. Kind of after I came back from my first accident, I didn't want people to just be like, oh, another injury, kind of like whatever. So I just didn't say nothing. I just, kept it, people that knew me obviously
Right.
knew, but I didn't put it online about nothing about the biceps. So this will be the first time that people really on the open internet kind of hear about it. But now that was last April that I ruptured it, and then I just went through the whole year. That's a pretty serious surgery. They have to pull your bicep down, drill a hole in your radius, and push the bicep through the radius and anchor it. So it takes a long time for it to heal to the radius, for it to start working again. There was a lot of time there that I thought I should be, lifting heavy. Like the strength was there, but it was just like painful. Like just the attachments and the stuff. Finding a new way to work was just painful. So, but my doctor did an amazing job. My bicep, if I didn't tell you, if I didn't have this big scar, if I didn't tell you, you wouldn't even know, because it just looks so natural. So
I can't tell right now.
yeah. Other than the scar, I mean, you wouldn't be able to. I just say I got bit by a shark right there or something. So that's pretty much the competition history. And then now, going forward, I'm big right now. I started this year about 235, 237, and I've been pushing a hard bulk. Now it's early April, or early February, and I'm up to. I touched 262 last night, so I don't know how high I'm gonna get. I'm waking up in the morning around 253, 254. I'd like to get up to around 260 to 265, and then pick a show. So maybe by the Arnold, I could be that size, which it's a lot to ask for, to put on that amount of size in that short of period of time. But I've done it. I've done it numerous times in my career where I've gained 30 pounds in 30 days, and it's not like I'm getting a big pie face. I'm like, my arms are getting swollen. You've actually mentioned it a couple times in the gym. You said, like, what are you doing? How are you gaining like this?
Yeah, he gets big fast, like all of a sudden.
But you've seen athletes do that. You saw Danny Padilla do it. You saw Mike Mentzer do it. Living with those guys growing up, you just saw them come in.
Well, but they went from literally not training at all for God knows how long, months, maybe even years,
Yeah.
to walking back in the gym and just blowing back up.
Mm-hmm.
But you had similar situation because you were injured, you couldn't train,
Yeah.
and then you came back from it.
Yeah. So I mean, originally when I started working with Phil, I had bulked up to 260. About 260, 270 is the biggest I ever have been to. But I've been there several times. So this weight that I'm gaining, from 20, 25 pounds in only a month and a half, I've been there before, So
Right.
pushing back my drugs back up, pushing my food back up, pushing my training back up, it all is like not new muscle I'm putting on. It's
Muscle memory.
Yeah, a lot of it's muscle memory.
Yes, familiar.
Reinflate, yeah. So it's not like the first time I put it on, it definitely came a lot slower than it is right now.
Right, because once you've had it, it comes back quick.
Yeah. It's. I mean, when I step on the gas, it happens fast. Mostly around being able to eat enough, just pushing in the food, because the drugs are always available. You can always kind of push in the drugs, and the training is we always train. But mostly to grow, it's about needing the food.
That's one thing I notice about Luke is he doesn't miss meals. He eats. And where I can say a lot of bodybuilders I know, they do the training, they'll take whatever drugs they're taking, but they can't get the food down. Mm-hmm. This guy gets the food down. And
well, I've had to actually learn a lot of techniques to do it. There's various drugs. There's like GHRPs, even something as simple as taking digestive enzymes can help massively to digest the food faster. I would say I'm a hard eater because I just don't have an appetite. But some of these techniques that you can do: wake up, pound 32 ounces of water, go to the gym, hit some cardio. You're starving by the time you get out of there. You're ready to. I put down. I don't eat any eggs. I don't eat any whey protein. My diet is mostly all red meat and rice.
You know, it's interesting you said that because I've had a problem with eggs and whey protein like over the years where I develop like allergies and I just can't digest the stuff right. And now I'm like, after I don't eat eggs or whey protein for a long period of time, then I can go back to eating them and I'm okay for maybe a couple weeks. And then I start having issues again. My Crohn starts flaring up. And I've been able to do a whey isolate like right after my training, but that's the only time. For some reason, like right after training, it's like my body just sucks up everything. So I can drink a whey isolate right after training and I'm good. But the eggs, lately, it's a no-go.
Just no-go.
It's
Yeah,
a no-go.
it probably has to do with inflammation in your gut because of your Crohn's.
Yeah, and the egg whites, it's the protein, it's not the yolks.
Well, I haven't eaten eggs since probably 2018 was when I started really pulling out the stuff that was irritating my gut. And now, you know, sometimes I try to go to breakfast and I'm like, I gotta eat a, you know, egg Benedict or something, and I do it and I just get like pure stomach cramps. I don't have the like enzymes to
I'm glad you
break
said
it
that
down
because
anymore.
for me, eggs were a go-to for so long. I would eat like 20 egg whites for breakfast sometimes in the morning.
Yeah.
And I did that for years, and it's just because it's easy, it's quick to make, and it's a lot of protein. But now it's just not happening.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, if you can stomach eggs, it's a total cheat code for bodybuilding. It's just pure amino acids, pure protein, you know. But if you can do whey, that's a pure cheat code for bodybuilding. You know, it's like guys are talking about getting, you know, 300, 400 grams of protein in. If you're not able to get in 2 70-gram shakes, like there's no way you're going to eat 400 grams of protein with just rice or with just a chicken and steak.
It's hard.
But that's basically what I do is I get in. I don't really get up to the 400. I would say I get up to 275, 300 grams of protein per day. I can't really push past that because it's just too much red, you know, too much meat.
Right. And you do eat a lot of red meat.
That's all I eat, basically, yeah. I don't like cooking chicken. The only time I eat chicken is if I go out. But, like, yeah, I just eat a big ribeye steaks, New York steaks, and bison burger. So that's pretty much my whole diet.
Lately, I've been going with ground turkey and really lean ground beef, and just mixing it with gluten-free pasta because it's just easier to get down.
Yeah, I think gluten-free pasta is mostly just rice.
It's rice flour.
Yeah.
It's just easy. It's just eating a steak. Just by the time I'm cutting it and chewing it, halfway through it, it's like
It's exhausting.
it's you don't feel like eating it anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas the ground, I can just shovel that stuff down.
You should see this. Larry has these meals, and it's like at least 5-6 pounds. It's got to be a 18-inch wide Tupperware, 10 to 12 inches deep, and it's just pure gluten-free pasta and some kind of ground meat, and he just is shoveling this in.
It's the only way I can get enough food in.
Yeah. Well, I ended up, so I used to eat a lot of, you know, before I started getting into the vertical diet from Stan Efferding, and that's when I started really pushing the red meat. And before then, I was eating a lot of, you know, egg whites, chicken, stuff like that. And then after I found red meat is, I mean, if you're able to stomach it and your body is like one of those that's able to break it down, red meat is it's a real cheat code for putting on mass. That's how I'm able to probably put on the mass, just because the caloric density of steak is so much higher than any other food, really.
You think that's mostly because of the fat content?
Yeah, probably has a lot to do, because I mean, steak is probably like a ribeye steak is probably like, you know, I think it'd be maybe a 12-ounce steak would be 70, 80 grams of protein, and then it'd be like 60, 70 grams of fat. So it's like almost not a 50-50, but it's a pretty high.
And something I want to mention, everybody thinks fat's bad for you. You know, you're going to clog up your arteries, this, that, and the other. Even my cardiologist just keeps telling me, like, don't eat too much fat. You know, and meanwhile, my cholesterol last checked was like 80.
Yeah.
So like I don't have any fat.
And-
But what happens is when you're bodybuilding and you're burning through things so fast, just literally calories, and that if you just take protein and carbs and no fats, you just can't get enough calories in to hold your weight.
Yeah, I mean the amount of food that you have to eat to get in 5,000-6,000 calories of chicken and rice is like 10 pounds of chicken, you know.
Yeah.
But if you're able to put steak in there, the caloric density of steak really makes it where, you know, it's a smaller amount of food. So I mean I personally have, I'm afraid to even say how many grams of fat I probably eat in a day. Like probably upwards of 200, 250 grams of fat to grow like I am right now. But I mean, in my opinion, fats make up, you know, the cell walls. It's a source of fuel to just push my calories up where I'm not, you know, living on my own fat stores or my own muscle stores to continue to grow. You know, it's actually just like this massive surplus of calories to grow on.
Let me differentiate one thing. He's eating fats from steak and mostly clean food. He's not eating McDonald's hamburgers.
Yeah.
So we're not going there either.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to go back to mentioning when he tore his bicep, he is able to recover from that because he went straight to surgery. I mean, we were in surgery, what, like the next day?
Yeah, immediately. I mean, I tore it on like a Saturday, and then I talked to my ortho on Monday. They got me in Monday night for an MRI, and I think it was like Tuesday or Wednesday when I got in to see when he got me in for surgery.
And that's critical because I can tell you from my own experience, I tore my tricep tendon and I wanted medical insurance to cover the surgery, so I was waiting for the approval.
Mm-hmm.
I waited 3 months. By the time I went to get it reattached, it had already shortened to the point where they couldn't pull it all the way back down. So now my left tricep is permanently smaller. My left tricep is I'd say my left arm is a whole inch smaller than maybe an inch and a half smaller than my right arm, because I'm missing like the long head of my tricep. There's just a big space in there.
Yeah, my ortho, he's the same guy that did when I broke my arm, and he knew my body is how I'm able to make my living, so he put me into emergency surgery right away. And he did say the exact same thing. He said, you know, the sooner you can get in, the healthier all the everything's going to be. The more elongated the muscle's going to be. Like if it gets too shortened for too long, then they might have to do a cadaver graft to even make it reach to like get enough extension in the tendon. And
That's what they did with my tricep. They did a cadaver graft, and I have like a long tendon now, but I have a tendon instead of a tricep down there.
I think it might be like the fascia kind of like retracts up and it shortens the muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh man, I remember when that was like the most painful I've ever had after a surgery. When they reattached it, they put you in an immobilizer thing. And when I got out of surgery, it was the most painful thing because it had been shortened for, 5-6 days, my bicep. So like to stretch that back out and reattach it, it was the most painful thing down in like just, I remember it just being like in this whole area of my elbow. It was just like, cause you had to like, reattach
Pull it down.
Pull it down, yeah.
They tried to do that with mine, and they originally, the first surgeon tried to attach it with a wire,
Mm-hmm.
and within 24 hours, the wire like snapped off.
Yeah.
So then I went to a different surgeon, and they used the cadaver tendon
To extend it.
But so,
Yeah.
like I said, now I have a long tendon instead of a tricep, but down here.
Mm-hmm. It's still connected. It's just
It works.
It doesn't look aesthetic. Like
It's
it should.
functional, but I have a big space, and it's not as strong as my right one. For
How
sure.
long did it take you to get back to training after, like normal training? I would say.
So I will say like this. Probably after the surgery, it was only a few months before I could train. But I've never. Well, no, that's not true. I was able to lift pretty damn heavy afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But what ended up happening was, I think because of the weakness in my tricep, I ended up tearing my right rotator cuff because it was like compensating. And so then I tore my right rotator cuff, and I mean, over the years, it's just like steadily been less and less, weight that I can lift, to where now I can do everything, but like, just not as strong as I was back when.
They told me on the bicep, they told me it would be at least 12 to 18 months before I was like 100% back. And I think I'm 100% back now. I'm back deadlifting, 5 plates like normal. And I'm able to bicep curl. I'm not pushing it as heavy as I did, but it's coming back. It's definitely like the strength is coming back there. But for a long time, I was just taking it slow, man, because the first 8 weeks after your bicep, like I said, having this immobilizer thing, and then every week they like extend it a little bit more to stretch that tendon, because you can't do it immediately because it's not healed into the bone. It's just too much pressure on that tendon. It'll pull out. So the first 8 weeks is literally just like getting full extension slowly every week. And then I remember I was going to the gym and I was getting fat, so I started doing cardio just to do whatever. I was doing stair mill, and then I would go over there and I'd lift. They had these little like 1 and 3 pound dumbbells, and I was like, doing these concentration curls, and I was doing these 1 pound. I had to really check my ego at the door. And then the next week I went up to 5 pounds, which was a pretty big jump. And then, it was kind of every week it just was able to progressively get stronger and better.
Well, right before you tore your bicep, I think that was the biggest I've ever seen you.
Yeah, I was 270. I was enormous.
Yeah, like really big.
Yeah.
And I think literally in the last, I want to say, month and a half, you've started to get that kind of size back.
Yeah. I was kind of pushing a little through the end of the year, and then I got COVID, and then I had to travel for the Olympia, and kind of was just like, getting back to healthy. And then right around the first of the year, I started feeling great. Everything, I don't know if other people know to do this, but there's like a groove that you can really get into, and then your training feels good, your dieting feels good, everything starts firing correct. Sometimes it's just hard to the stars hard to align to get into that position sometimes, But when you do get in, like right now, you just got to step on the gas. You got to push the food up, push the drugs up, and just let your body give it all the growth you want to give it.
Well, I mean, life gets in the way. Yeah. I know, just for me, going to the Olympia, and then after that, I went through it. My mother passed away, and then I was just like, my training just got really inconsistent.
Yeah. And
when my training's inconsistent, my food is inconsistent, and then my sleep's inconsistent, and then everything's inconsistent, and then you're just nothing's functioning right.
Yeah, so I got up to a level of pretty good amount of healing and training, and then I went through a couple months of the same stuff. I got a bulging disc in my back, I got COVID, I got food poisoning, and then I traveled for Christmas. But then once I got back from that, everything was kind of back. And so and you're kind of doing the same right now. You're like, I see you training in there every day now. You look like you're like moving better, moving easier. So
yeah, well, it's finally
clicking.
Yeah, and you literally have to get to a point where, I mean, for me, call it selfish, call it whatever. It's like, I'm going to train, and all of you people that want something from me are going to wait.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to answer my phone, and I'm not going to stay on the freaking computer with you because I need to work out.
Yeah, I've been single for a little while. I go on, dates here or there with girls, and then they hit me up. Hey, why don't you want to talk? Why don't you want to hang out? And I just am like, look, I got to go to the gym. I can't, cause, I go over there, stay over there one night, end up skipping my last meal, we stay up till midnight, whatever. I get up the next day, I'm tired. So it's not just me making time for a girl for whatever. It's like it has to really be a planned out thing for me not to fall off schedule, And I've done it here or there on the weekends, Friday night or Saturday night, spend a day, and then like I'll go check my weight and I'll be down 7-8 pounds, right now. And right now I'm like trying to push every night. I send my coach a photo of the scale, just higher every night, just bigger by the day. But then like I go have a night out, enjoy myself, and then so I guess what I'm getting at is priorities. If you want to be, the biggest guy in the gym, breathing fire, going, nip walkers, stuff like that, you gotta make priorities, and basically the priority is be at home in bed to recover, eat your meals on time, make sure the meals are there prepped for you, whatever that may be.
And for you as a pro bodybuilder, like this is your career, so this is your business.
Yeah.
So that, you need to make that a priority.
Yep. Yeah.
For me, it's not even that. It's just I need to work out for my own mental sanity.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I want to make it back to my real career, get back on stage. My goal is to get back on stage this year, so I'm going to talk to Phil at the Arnold. He's going to be at the Arnold. We're going to assess how big I am. If I'm still growing, we might hold off, push for another month, and then kind of pick a show, or we might just pick a show at the Arnold and kind of go for it from there. So like I could maybe do Tampa or Texas or something like that. I'd have to start prep by May maybe. I could do 12 weeks, something like that.
Well, I can tell you I've seen all of the pros that are currently competing in person, on stage and not on stage, and you're right there. You're right there. So
I have this inferiority on myself because I see
do.
these guys. I look at them and I think like I got to get bigger. I don't want to, embarrass myself on stage. So I don't want to be like the small guy next to Hunter Labrada. I don't want to be on stage at 230. And Hunter's 255, 265. So.
No, like I said, I've seen all these guys in person. I mean, I just interviewed Derek Lunsford at the LA Fit Expo, and you're definitely going to make an impact on that stage.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, man. You're going to be buying me the whole way.
And he has no weak points.
I'm going to be training in your gym the whole way.
Yeah,
so.
No weak points. This guy has no weak points. There's not a weak point on him. Like everybody's got some weak point, Samson Dowda, his back is his weak point. I don't know, Derek's front's not striated. Everybody seems to have something going on.
We'll see how chiseled I get when it comes down to it. I pushed pretty hard when I got my card at USA's. I was pretty lean, but the more preps you do, the better you get. So I'm hoping this next time I come in, I'm in a great position as well, because now I've been working with Phil since 2018. What is that? 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
He really knows my body. We know what drugs work. We know what foods I can't eat. The first time we prepped together, we did great. We won my card at USA's, but we had in a lot of fluff stuff that really I didn't need. Or we could have done better, or we, stuff taken out, my test too early, and I just felt like shit, and stuff like that. So now we can go into this next prep with so much experience. So I'm really excited for.
Well, it's not only that, but you just had more time.
Yeah.
Doing this, so your own self better.
Yeah, that's true. I'm learning like my training is, I feel like my training right now is so good. I'm so regimented on my logbook. We have all the machines that are like, it's literally my favorite gym to work out at, because we just have every single thing that I'm like, if I had to build a dream gym, it would be underground, and it's 4 blocks from my house. I can literally like roll out of bed and be there in like 2 minutes.
Well, he's responsible for some of that, because I handpicked all the equipment in the gym, and then Luke's like, we need this seated leg curl with this thing that holds you down the legs, and I'm
pretty
just like,
specific on.
and I'm like, well, we have 2 seated leg curls. No, we need this specific one. Okay, so I get that one.
He definitely gets me all the fun toys that I want. We just got the pendulum, so I'm actually going to train legs right after we do this podcast. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and he just bugged me. He's like, we need a new recumbent bike. We need a new what do you call it?
Station bike?
No, the other kind of bike.
Oh, the spin bike?
Another spin bike. So I just got 2 of those. So I think we've got, there's not much that we don't have. I don't think there's anything that we don't have.
No, we're getting pretty good. There's a couple of machines we could probably get rid of and refine, but I mean beyond that, it's a very complete. One of the few gyms. One of the few gyms that I've ever been into, and I've been into a lot of gyms that has 200-pound dumbbells.
Yeah, Avanco dumbbells.
Yeah.
Like the real stuff.
Yeah, just the bars alone. We got Texas power bars, Texas squat bars, Ohio deadlift bars, Kabuki bars. We got the real deal at Underground on all the stuff. So,
well, I'm kind of an equipment junkie, and I've trained at gyms all over the world, and the first time I use a flex leverage pull down, I'm like, this is the best pull down that I've ever used. Just the range of motion, the arc, the way it works. So when I started building my gym, I'm like, I need that flex leverage stuff. So we got all that, and now you can't even find that anywhere. You can't get, good luck trying to find flex leverage. You can't find it anywhere. They don't make it, and it's just, if you either have it or you don't.
Yeah, I didn't know for a long time how, because I started going there, and I had always just used, other gyms' equipment, and so hammer strength, this or that, and then probably throughout COVID and stuff, when we started training, I started noticing that leverage, converging chest press, and now you even got the those Body Masters shoulder press, and that's a nice. I'm a Viking press man all the way. You had the Viking press, but that shoulder press just feels so great on your.
Well, I'm going to tell you like this: torn rotator cuff here, bad shoulder on this side, cannot overhead press at all with dumbbells or a barbell. But I, for some reason, get on this Body Masters converging shoulder press because it's all adjustable and everything. And I can do shoulder presses with 0 pain in my rotator cuffs. No pain at all. It's just perfect. All the way to failure, drop sets and the whole thing, my shoulders don't even hurt. They don't hurt while I'm doing it. They don't hurt afterwards, nothing. And I have not found any other machine that I can overhead press. I almost was giving up on them. I can do the Viking press, but even that was starting to hurt my shoulder for a bit. And but this thing just works perfect.
Yeah.
Dumbbells I could do, but good luck, trying to get them up there.
Yeah, you had a hard time stabilizing, especially 'cause once you get to a certain strength, kicking up for a shoulder press it's hard to do. I can press the 130s, but pulling 130s up to here, shoulder press is it's just.
I used to have people hand me a dumbbell at a time, but then you gotta find someone strong enough to pick up the 130-pound dumbbell and give it to you.
Yeah, I was actually terrified. I just started shoulder pressing dumbbells again, probably in the last 2-3 weeks, because I was kicking it up with the bicep. You have to really stabilize, and just that motion, it scared the hell out of me. So I was just using the Viking press and stuff. But I started using it again, lately. This thing's feeling great. I'll shout out to my doc.
Yeah. So we've talked a little bit about your plans going forward. Obviously competing before the end of the year, and looking to get a pro win, and then hopefully go into the Olympia.
That'd be the dream. That's the ultimate bodybuilder, Super Bowl.
I will say that I've seen many bodybuilders over the years with great genetics and great potential, and they should be the next best thing since sliced bread, but they don't have the mental discipline to do what needs to be done. And, Luke going through all these injuries and things, but lately he's like on track. I see him in the gym, never missing a workout, obviously eating his food. So as long as you stick with that plan.
Yeah, I think, I think staying single throughout this time, not kind of getting caught up in side quests of having girlfriends, having to go on dates or whatever, just kind of working, eating, coming to the gym, going home, going to bed. Kind of this like Spartan monk life of bodybuilding is kind of what's going to serve me best throughout the rest of, this next journey to get back to the stage.
Well, yeah, and like I said, I've been watching him every week, and it's definitely showing in the gym. You can see it every week. He's getting bigger and leaner. So let's talk about you were mentioning about your eating, and I know that's a big problem for a lot of people, like just not having an appetite. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
I mean, there's this kind of exotic drug called Megestrol, and for me, that's the real game changer on, being able to. It's like Boston Lloyd was actually the one that told me about it and sent me the first little bit of it that I used, and it doesn't really come on very fast. You got to take it. It comes on slow, but then you kind of just have this like, oh, I'm hungry. This extra I'm hungry, and this extra like, starting to eat a bigger meal every time you eat meals. So I would say it was like the real game changer. And then the other things are important too, like keeping my digestion healthy. If I eat something like crap and I got acid reflux and all this stuff, then that definitely like slows it down.
Right.
But I would say that drug is like the real game changer. So it's a tough one to find. I mean, but that's what I would kind of attribute my recent push to. And you said like last year when I was like 270, I was using it at that time as well. So
now I don't know if you want to get into this or not. It's up to you. But a lot of people have this idea that the bigger guys are just pushing more drugs, and I know what this guy takes because obviously he trains in my gym. I've trained with him, and we talk about this, and it's nowhere near what these people are talking about.
Yeah, I don't mind talking about it because, I mean, I do use a little less than what I think other guys use. I would say this: most pro bodybuilders that I know use between 1,500 and 2,000 milligrams a week total between all their tests, whatever anabolic, and their orals. It's usually in that range. I use on the lower side of that. I usually use about 100, 125 milligrams a day of test, and then I like Primo. I think Primo is the cat's meow. It suppresses my estrogen. I don't have to take an AI with it or anything like that. For me, it doesn't dry out my joints. I know some people have kind of reported getting dry. You get dry joints on DHTs, but for me, it works great. My dick works great when I'm on it. I feel great. I'm not having any kind of like hair loss, no acne or whatever. It's just a very clean, no water retention kind of cycle for me. So, and then I'll do 100 milligrams a day of Primo. I just pushed that up to 150, which is about 850, 900 a week. But I usually shoot every day, but I usually miss one day a week. So that drops down to just 150 less. So, but that would put me right about the 1,500, 1,600 milligrams. So that's what a real open pro bodybuilder is doing. That's the dose.
And you mentioned taking it every day rather than like a couple times a week, and that's a big debate. That some people are like you don't need to do that long esters. You can take it once or twice a week.
Probably I don't need to do it. I do it just out of I don't like doing the smaller the shot the better for me. So say I wanted to do, it ends up being 14, 15 milliliters per week. So I did that 2 days, 2 7 milliliter shots. I'd have to be shooting all over my body probably anyways. So with the way that I'm doing it now, you know, it's a 1.5 cc shot every day, which is like tolerable for my muscle groups. You know, I just kind of rotate my spots that I shoot. So that's my main reason. And then it kind of keeps me on track for not forgetting, because sometimes if you do it every, you know, 2 to 3 days, you're like, dang it, did I do it on Monday, or am I supposed to do it on Saturday? You know, so it just keeps me on track. Right before I get ready for bed, take a shower, do my shots, get in bed.
So for me, it's I train 4 days a week, and I take my
On your
stuff
training.
4 days a week, about 2 hours before training. And I know they say it doesn't matter when you take it, but I really do think it does, because if I take it about 2 hours before training, I actually start feeling a little bit of aggression, maybe from the androgens right before. And if you think it doesn't affect you immediately, try taking your shot right before you go to bed at night, assuming you're not taking sleeping stuff, and see if it doesn't keep you up half the night.
Yeah, I've talked to Phil about that before, and I've always just done it at night because that's when I do all my vitamins and everything. But I take a quarter of an Ambien at night to help me fall asleep. And I don't really have a problem with sleeping, but one time when I was bulking real hard, I started taking it, and I'm talking, so a full dose is 10 milligrams or 5 to 10 milligrams, and I take a half of a 5, so it's a quarter of a dose.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pretty small dose. But I noticed that, like, you know, I was trying to go to bed at this time at like 9 o'clock at night. You know, you lay down, you're not tired at 9. But if I was able to take this dose of Ambien, then I would say I was using it like a performance enhancing drug, like to sleep more, to get in, you know, 9, 10, 11 hours of sleep in a night. You're going to start growing, you know, so much faster than if you're getting in 5 or 6 hours of crappy sleep.
Yeah, that is such a huge thing that people don't realize. Is I don't know why somebody started this idea that, you know, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger said, like, sleep less.
Yeah.
You need your sleep.
The more you can get, the better.
Yeah, if you don't sleep, you don't recover, you don't function. I know on days that I don't get a lot of sleep, I'm not getting as much done. I mean, I might be doing a bunch of stuff, but I'm just not as efficient at what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. And then I started also using, for a while I was using a CPAP, and it did a good job for me, but it was just not a sexy thing to use, man. You know,
Man, I swear,
You know,
I use it. I don't care.
I'm single, you have a girl over, let me get out my Bane mask, you know, so I just started kind of like not loving using it, and then I had to give it back because I wasn't using it enough. I would use it, you know, a few hours a night, then the cord is all wrapped up. So lately I've been using that mouth tape. You know what that is? You seen that?
No.
You put the tape on your freaking mouth and you go to bed. And it works for me. It's been working, I think, just as good as the CPAP because it forces me to breathe through my nose, which is
really?
what the CPAP did. It pushed air up my nose, so it forced me to breathe. But I've really been happy. The reason I know that it's working was because if I don't use the CPAP, I'll wake myself up a lot, or the mouth tape. I'll wake myself up a lot, and I'll pee 10 times a night. Every time I wake myself up from choking or whatever, I'll go take a piss. When I would use the CPAP, I would sleep all through the night, and I'd take like a 5-minute piss in the morning, and I'm doing the same thing with the mouth tape. So, yeah. So it's been pretty good. Have to kind of be smart with it. If I'm pushing my meal toward the end of the night, and I'm like burping, you know, coughing up food or whatever, then it's you have to kind of like be smart with how you do it.
I swear by the CPAP. I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't go anywhere without it.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. It's a cheat code, but I mean, if it didn't work super great for me because I felt kind of awkward using it. You got used to it over a month and a half, but I mean, the mouth tape for some reason.
I just don't care. Like, my sleep is so important.
Yeah, I agree.
Prior to the CPAP, literally had this vision of myself dying in a car accident from falling asleep at the wheel. Because all day long I was just like
Yeah.
falling asleep because I wasn't sleeping at night.
That makes, yeah.
And I just,
I've felt that way before, like literally before I got my CPAP last year. I was just felt like my skin was heavy on my bones. You know, I was sleeping 8-9 hours a night, but I just felt like I was just like,
because you weren't really sleeping.
yeah, I wasn't really sleeping. I was just kind of like not conscious, but not getting restorative sleep.
I would recommend that you go back to trying to use a CPAP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mouth, I mean, I don't know. The mouth tape is
You know, you can buy one on Craigslist and,
Yeah.
and just get one for yourself, you know.
Yeah, my insurance was covering it, and then I didn't use it enough, and then they wanted it back. It was a whole hassle, so I ended up having to
Yeah.
get, they wanted to charge me $900 to get it, and I was like, I'm not paying no $900 for this thing.
Yeah,
But,
you can buy them on Craigslist for like $300.
yeah, I might have to look into it again,
But yeah, I swear by that thing.
Mhm.
And like, my sleep is so important. Like, I don't care what. First
Yeah.
of all, anybody who's over there with me, you know, if they have a problem with me wearing a CPAP, then we have more problems than that. You know.
yeah,
So
that's fair.
I don't really care what someone thinks. I need to get my sleep at night. It's critical.
Yeah, I sleep alone 100% of the nights now. I haven't had a girl,
there you go.
I haven't
So-
had a girl stay over anyways in a long time.
So it doesn't matter anyways. And you know what? The right girl, she's not gonna care. If she
Yeah.
cares about you, she's not gonna care
Yeah,
that you're wearing a CPAP. You know, like whatever.
Oh man.
They got their stuff they got to do. You know.
Yeah. It is important. I can't understate enough how important sleep is.
Yeah, because what happens is, for people who don't know, when your neck gets a certain size, you start choking on yourself,
Mhm.
and then you wake yourself. You're like literally choking, and you're not getting oxygen, and then so you're waking up choking all through the night. And I knew I had this for years, but I'd go to doctors and they would just blow me off, be like, "Oh, you look fine," you know.
Yeah.
And when I finally got the sleep study, they're like, "Oh yeah, you stop breathing like every 10 seconds."
Yeah, I guess I stopped, what was it? 16 times a minute I was holding my breath. Adriel's bad. Man, he showed me a video.
Mhm.
He was holding his breath for like 20 seconds
Well,
straight.
I knew that. I told him I got him a CPAP off of Craigslist like a long
Yeah.
time ago, and then he didn't want to wear it because the air wasn't adjusted right, so I had adjusted the machine for him.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah, no, he needs it real bad. I kind of noticed also, I'm probably going to start coming back into that issue again a little bit. When I got my injury, I dropped down to 225, 230 pounds. And when I dropped that extra 25 pounds, my neck still got smaller. My body didn't have an issue with sleeping through the night. So, yeah, as I get back up into the 260s, I'm probably gonna need it again.
yeah. The bigger you are, the bigger everything gets. The bigger your neck gets, the more weight you're carrying, the more you just need that thing.
Yeah.
So, I just wouldn't even go without it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll look into getting another one.
So let's talk about training, because I know a lot of people want to know about that. And, you know, there's a huge debate, which I don't know why, still to this day, over high volume versus high intensity. And, you know, I did a video like recently on high intensity training, and I don't know why I keep having people telling me, well, no one actually trains high intensity. Everybody's training high volume. And I know this isn't true, because most of the pros are training high intensity.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know some people say you can do both. You can train high volume and high intensity. Well, no, you can't really.
No, you can't.
No,
I mean,
not really.
if you're putting in high enough intensity, your volume is not going to be very high.
Yeah, because your body, you can only kill yourself so many times.
Yeah.
You know, and your muscles are dead.
So personally, my training right now is probably the lower on the I'll on the lower side, but I just progressively overload. You know, basically I found the machines that I really like in our gym. the back stuff, the chest training stuff, the shoulder stuff. I've worked out what is biomechanically the best for my body to not, have any kind of impingements or issues or anything like that. And I'm just getting into the rep range. I would say 8 to 12. 12 on the very high end if it's, I would say in probably like the 8 to 9 range is like my normal working sets. But I'm going heavy. Like on that leverage piece, I'm up to 7 to 7.5 plates. Every week I'm pushing up, keeping my reps in that 2 sets of 9, 10, and I'm just keeping, moving up 5 pounds every week, 5 pounds every week. And, it's serious because I was, a couple months ago I was at 270, and now I'm at 350 this week, so I mean, and I'm doing the same amount of reps volume-wise, so I would say I'm in that, like, stimulating rep range, and I'm just going till, the brutal failure for myself. I like to go to like positive failure. I don't really train with a training partner. The only time that I want someone to give me a spot is if I'm about to die. Like, I don't want you to give me 4 extra forced reps. I just like to go to positive failure where where I have to stop at, maybe help me finish that extra half rep. But if I can get an extra 2 or 3 more, you touched it too soon. Mm-hmm. So, and then say I'm on like barbell incline, I'm going to go to, 7, 8, 9 reps, whatever my failure rep is, and then pull it up. Don't give me like an extra 2 or 3. I just want, I'll take it as to my failure and then rack it.
Right.
So there's a couple things that I'll do partials on where it's safe, say like a crossbody tricep cable. I'll do the partials. The seated hamstring curl, I'll do some partials on that. Where it's safe for me to do partials, I do, a couple partials at the end of some of the sets.
Now realize what part of what he's talking about, he's pushing a lot of weight. Mm-hmm. So when he's going to failure, this is with a lot of intensity and a lot of weight. And his failure is probably different than most people's failure. In other words, most people probably have 5 reps in the tank, and they think they're at failure, and it's like they're not. Mm-hmm. When he's hitting failure, it's like that's it. There's nothing left.
Yeah. That's where my failure set is. But then that's how you get, you check your logbook. That's how you get progressive overload. Say you're doing, like I said, that leverage chest press machine. I'm pushing as hard as I can to my last rep, and that's 9 reps at say 345, and then I come back the next week, progressively overload, So I'm honest with my logbook, what I'm actually at failure. I don't have 4 extra reps in the tank, 5 extra reps in the tank. I'm at my personal version of failure.
Like the last possible rep you could possibly do.
Yeah.
Another thing that people have been talking about. What was I going to say here? I just drew a blank. I don't know why.
That's all right. So let's see. And then I don't really do too much different variations. One thing that drives me nuts is people will go in and they'll do, a bunch of variations of the same movement. They'll do a bench press, and then they'll do a leverage flat chest press, and they'll do flat dumbbells, and then they'll do an incline, and then they'll do an incline machine, and you just did a bunch of junk volume. So for myself, I like to find those movements that work great, like say a barbell or the leverage flat press and the incline barbell, and then I just do 4 working sets on that to failure, couple cable sets to failure, and that's my whole chest exercise. I mean, it's not
I can say for me it's like my workouts very rarely change as far as exercise selection or even how I organize them. It's almost always the same.
Yeah.
All my workouts, because I found which movements just feel the best, work the best, considering, things that I have to work around injuries and whatnot, what I get the most out of, and then I stick to those things that work. Why put in a bunch of exercises that don't work when you use the ones that do?
I would say that the way that I'm doing it is probably the fastest way to grow. If that makes sense. It's probably, getting in the right rep range of the right body mechanic and being progressively overloading as far as you can is the fastest way to grow. It's not the only way. People can go in, like I said, and do 7 chest exercises and not work up to that level. And I think they can get up to a pretty high level. That's the volume approach. They can get up to a pretty high level. They can build a fair amount of muscle. It's safer probably on your joints because you're not going to be just the absolute strongest beast in the gym, but you're not going to get to be that absolute beast. You're gonna get there a lot slower. If you put in a bunch of extra junk volume, it's going to take you longer to recover from that workout, and it's probably not. It's not as stimulating, specifically.
Oh, and I know what I was going to say. So there's this, and I'm going to say it's a myth because I believe it's a myth that strength and hypertrophy do not correlate. In other words, it doesn't matter how strong you are to build muscle. And I'm going to call BS on this, and the reason I am is because every pro bodybuilder that was worth a damn, or even power lifter that I've seen that was tremendously strong and could lift a lot of weight, also had a lot of size. Mm-hmm. And there's a direct correlation between the amount of weight you're lifting and how much muscle you're carrying. Now, there is things like individual variations, like somebody might have better leverages on a deadlift, for example, if they have a short torso and long limbs. But if you take the same person and they're using X amount of weight for X amount of reps, and then a month later they're using more weight for the same amount of reps, I guarantee you they put some muscle on.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just works like that.
Yeah, that's 100% true. So I would say that the powerlifting style of lifting, you can get stronger without really building up the muscle, but I would say that's more kind of isolated to like the
I'm gonna
rep scheme.
I'm gonna qualify that statement, and then so people understand. First of all, some of the biggest human beings I've ever seen in my life were powerlifters. We have a guy named Benito at the gym. He's 400 pounds, and he's never taken a drug in his life, and he's crazy strong. So there is definitely a correlation going on there.
Yeah.
However, powerlifters are focused on executing the squat, bench, and deadlift to lift as much weight as they can. So you might have some powerlifters that are pretty strong and don't look as impressive because all they're doing is squat, bench, and deadlift. Mm-hmm. They're not doing side lateral raises. They're not doing bicep curls. So they don't have the muscles like a bodybuilder because they're just not training all their parts.
Yeah.
But they are what they do train is big. They just don't have like big calves, big biceps, big shoulders because they don't train those muscles.
Yeah, I would say there's a little bit of variation in, I see Benito. I don't know a huge amount about powerlifting, like the programs. I've kind of seen some, 5 sets of 3, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So they're kind of lifting more of this like explosive strength, and I think that kind of the hypertrophic work is, like you said, a little bit more of those isolating every muscle, and then you're kind of more focusing on the execution of the whole rep instead of just getting the weight moved, which is what kind of what powerlifters do. Their bodybuilders are more working on, like that new pendulum, really getting the stretch in the quads, coming out of it, getting a full contraction and stuff like that.
Look, some people do a bench press, and because of their leverages, they're working their chest, they're working their shoulders, they're working their triceps, And other people are doing a bench press and they're only working their triceps and very little chest and very little shoulders.
Yeah.
Other people like Stan Efferding, he just said, for him, a bench press was all shoulders, just depending on your leverages. So if you're just doing a movement and getting really strong at that movement, you're building muscle somewhere.
Yeah, you'll build a lot of muscle. Whatever you're working.
Something is moving that weight.
Yeah.
But, you may not have big triceps because you don't use your triceps in that lift.
It's all a pec, yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, whatever exercise you are doing, if you get stronger on that exercise, you're going to be bigger on that exercise. If you get weaker on that exercise, you're going to get smaller.
Smaller overall, yeah.
Yeah, it just works like that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I know, like when my strength goes up, my size goes up. When my strength goes down, and specifically like any kind of pressing seems to be more affected by my body weight than, say, legs or back for whatever reason. If my body weight drops, my pressing sucks. When my body weight goes up, my pressing gets better. Somehow, even when my body weight drops a little bit, I'm able to still move pretty good amount of weight with my legs. I don't know if that's genetic or just what it is.
I mean, you probably got pretty good leverages in your legs.
Yeah,
so.
I think it's that.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying is what I'm seeing right now. I mean, I'm bigger than ever right now, and my strength is going up just across the board. I'm getting stronger by the day in this off season. So.
And if you see him and Adriel in the gym, which are the two biggest guys in my gym, and they're both lifting a crap ton of weight. I mean, on every exercise, and they're doing bodybuilding movements. They're not powerlifting, but they're still using a lot of weight.
We're doing powerlifting weights on bodybuilding movements.
Yeah, we're talking about like this flex leverage machine. He's talking about. He's got, I don't know, what is it, 7 45-pound plates stacked on that thing.
Yeah, 7 plates and a quarter this week.
Yeah, so that's a lot of weight on that machine to be moving.
Yeah.
So. It shows.
It's kind of interesting because when I was training with Brian last year when I was real big, I was I didn't even have 7 plates. I think I had 6 plates and like a 35 is about where we stopped. And now, a year later, post injury, whatever, like I'm 50. I'm not the same. I'm approaching the same size. Pretty soon I'll be about the same size. But my strength on my chest for some reason is like 45 pounds heavier, 55 pounds heavier than it was at that time. I don't understand this specifically why.
Well, you're more, I can tell you just looking at you, your upper body is more round than I've ever seen it. Mm-hmm. So it's,
yeah,
I think, your weight might have been higher last year.
Yeah.
But the weight was
distributed differently.
It was distributed. It wasn't in the same place.
My back is weaker than that time because at that point I was deadlifting 645 for reps.
And your back was huge.
And right now I'm only deadlifting I struggled with 500 this week.
Right.
I mean it'll come back. I mean I'll get back up into the 6 plates, but I was like every week I was pulling 6 plates for like 10 at that time, and now like I don't even think I can pull 6 plates off the ground right now.
Again,
but I wonder I don't know how my back is looking compared to at that time, though.
I remember at that time when you were at your heaviest, your back was really big.
Yeah.
I remember one time he had his shirt off, and it's like you could see every muscle, just like it looked like he was doing a back lat spread, and he was just standing there, like everything was sticking out.
I grow a lot of hair on my back from all the trenbolone use, probably. But Larry comes up to me. I was doing posing. We have a good posing area, and Larry goes, "Yeah, the barbershop over here will shave your back for you." I was like, "All right, Larry, this is starting to get a little out of control. I need to do something about this."
Yeah, we got a barbershop right across the parking lot.
I still didn't
shave me and everything.
You know what? I had my house cleaner use that Nair stuff on my back.
Oh no, that's horrible.
It did great for me. I actually one time before I used it and I got a chemical burn from it, but I think I left it on a little bit too long.
Yeah.
But this time it was great. It worked fine. But,
yeah, but how do you still get back there to clean it off?
My house cleaner had to do it for me. She was cleaning my house. I said, Maria, will you come shave my back for me?
No, you just go to Raymond across the parking lot.
I'm afraid to ask him. I was gonna ask my barber that does my face and my
No, they
hair,
do it for
and
me all the time.
I chickened out.
I just go right over there, and they have a little back area. They put up a little one of those partition things.
Yeah. And
they just shave me up.
All right.
Yeah, takes 10 minutes.
I got Maria to do it, so.
So again, this is Larry Pollock, Luke Carroll, coming to you from Underground Performance Gym. You go to our website, undergroundperformancegym.com, and you can sign up for a free 7-day pass. Come out and try out the best gym in Ventura County. And again, check out our website for different supplements. Apparel is on the way. We should have that in next week. Oh, don't forget to like, subscribe. I always forget this part. So we can provide more content for you. And again, comment in the video. So we'll do a Q&A afterwards, assuming people have a lot of questions, which I'm sure people will.
All right.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
The curse to the